we can go right into this first discussion and talk a little bit about some of the expectations coming in from this game and coming in, between the Celtics and the Mavericks. Like, I mean, what? So the I sort of like I mean I expected the Celtics to be all like a a very dominant team in the postseason. Like I was expecting them to make it all the way to the finals, but I did not expect them to be so dominant and so well composed throughout majority of in fact throughout all of the series that they've played in. Like I knew they were going to make it, but I felt the struggle and the competition was going to like the struggle was going to be there and the competition would have put up a little bit more of a fight against the Celtics. Like, but it seemed like throughout all of the postseason, it was very smooth sailing, and this just ensures that this team is as good as they were in the regular season. A lot of people were doubting the Celtics in the regular season. They were doubting their roster. They were not sure if Tatum was going to be able to win a championship sooner or later. They were unsure if extending Jaylen Brown to that huge contract extension, making him the most paid athlete in the NBA, wasn't the best move. But it turns out that it was one of the best moves, because now it's like they're sort of him signing that contract that made him the most paid player. It was all worth it in the end, because he immediately answers with winning a championship and immediately answers by winning an Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and most likely going to be named the Finals MVP going into the at the end of Game 4. It's most likely going to be Jaylen Brown, because no other player on the roster has been performing as consistent as he has throughout the entirety of the NBA Finals. It's like he hasn't had a single bad game in the finals yet. And I mean, even when he was up against Golden State a few years ago, back in 2022, he was also arguably, the best player on the Celtics when Jason Tatum wasn't playing that well. And this is sort of just like a similar story coming in from Jaylen Brown. And, it really begs the question, which of the two is the better player on the team, and which of the two is the more valuable. But like obviously everyone's going to say it's Tatum, and like that's going to be the first answer, especially when you can take into consideration the regular season. But so far in the postseason, like I mean, these two, they had a really good game together finally. But Jaylen Brown has been the most consistent, and he's been the one that's been scoring a lot of the points and like he hasn't really gotten the all around numbers that Tatum has had. But in terms of the efficiency and in terms of production, you've gotten the most out of Jaylen Brown. You've gotten more from out of him than you have out of Tatum. So I didn't expect this would be how they would end up winning in this series. I expected Tatum to go off in some of these games, and I expected a couple of games to like I expected Game 3 to be close, and I expected all the other games to like maybe be a little bit close towards the end. But like towards the fourth quarter, maybe Game 2, I felt like Game 2 should have been a really close game, but it ended up being a blowout as well. And it's like all of these Kyrie did not play that well in Game 1 or Game 2, and that sort of surprised me. It's going to be 3 years until Kyrie it's going to be 3 years and Kyrie has yet to beat Boston. Like, not being able to beat Boston for 3 years is crazy. That is a crazy stat that I found before starting the show, and I really like. I mean, that is one of those stats that you just cannot make up. That is a very crazy stat that some people follow, and that another crazy stat that was made like during this postseason was the blow by stat that I mentioned before. And again, like I don't know what like who calculated that. I don't know when it was calculated, but them introducing that when Luka finally is down in a series is a little bit I think it's a little bit ironic, and it's a little bit odd. Like, were they saving this for when he was going to fail? Like, but aside from his defense in this series, he's been a like probably the most important piece to the entire Mavericks and their offense. And if it weren't for him fouling out in this previous game, where he ended with 27 points and 6 rebounds and 6 assists, there's a good chance that they could have ended up winning this game. Again, just a chance, not an entire possibility, because this team is just, they are not on the same level as the Boston Celtics, it seems like, because it's like, I mean, the Celtics, they're just better. Like, the team overall is just better, and they don't have to constantly rely on two players just to make all the difference on the team. Like, which is the biggest difference between the Celtics and the Mavericks. Everyone was saying, like, before the finals even started, everyone was talking like, okay, now the Boston Celtics, they have to worry about playing a real team now. Oh, they won't let that fly going up against a real team, because the stipulation going into the finals for the Celtics was that, oh, they have yet to play against a real team. Like, they lose every they well, not they lose, but like they've lost every single time before in the previous seasons, and now it's going to be their time to lose here, because they're going up against a team, because like the teams that they went up against on their road to get to the finals were mostly riddled with injuries. So this would have been like their first time where they played a fully healthy roster. Now that the Celtics are whooping them with ease, now the topic is that the Mavericks are really bad. And it's like, it's funny how the story completely switches when the Celtics are winning, despite the fact that I felt like the Celtics from the jump were a better team, like, as a whole. Like, not needing to rely on two players for your offense immediately makes you the better offense. And I mean, granted, the Celtics, they do rely on two of their players on offense, but it's not like there aren't other players on the team that could provide for them. For example, one game you had Kristaps Porzingis doing most of the scoring in game one. Then in game two, you had Drew Holiday doing most of the scoring. And then in game three, you have both JT and Jaylen Brown doing most of the scoring. And it's like, this dynamic where it could be several other players' big night is it helps the team be better, because you don't have to, as two players being consistent, it's a little bit like, at the same time, it's not that easy to ask of someone, as opposed to like, maybe one or a few other players that aren't the same players be consistent for a night. It's like, it's not easy. It's not an easy task to ask for. And that's really like the biggest problem with, the offense that I feel like the Mavericks have been struggling with, simply because like, Kyrie's been inconsistent, and the rest of the Mavs lineups have also been inconsistent. Relying on two players to run your offense is like, it's really difficult to and it's not something that works on a consistent basis. I mean, Kobe said that kind of style isn't going to win you a championship. James Harden tried it. It didn't work. And LeBron and Kyrie, they almost worked until Kevin Durant completely destroyed them with their team basketball. But they had it working, but it's not easy. I mean, like, asking them to be consistent every night, they were able to do it, but asking it from the other players, it was a much more difficult task. So that's all I have about for you guys in this next segment. So now we will go ahead and go into the second segment, where I talk a little bit about Jimmy Butler and the possibilities that he has for this upcoming free agency, because it seems like a lot of teams are really interested in getting Jimmy Butler on their squad. So I will be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?